So this will be a continuation from your word. I'm starting from verse 16. So yesterday we were talking about um, why it's important for us to obey the Lord's commands. And if we do that, He will send rain in our lives. Okay, so verse 16 is saying, it's Deuteronomy 11, verse 16. Be careful, or you will be enticed to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you, and He will shut up the heavens so that it will not rain, and the ground will yield no produce. And you will soon perish from the good land the Lord is giving you. Fix these words of mine in your heart and minds. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children may be many in the land the Lord swore to give your ancestors, as many as the days that the heavens are above the earth. Okay, so this is just the Lord telling us what will happen if we don't obey His commands. So the first thing that we are being told about is us being careful not to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. A lot can happen in our lives that can lead someone to turn away from God. We have talked about this before. It can be misfortunes in life, it can be even the death of someone you love, and you are there asking God, why me? If you loved me, why then did this happen? Or I prayed to you, Lord, but still you took away this person from me. I prayed, but you didn't give me this job. So some of those situations are the ones that make people turn away from God. Sometimes it might not necessarily be someone uh, visiting maybe a shrine of a witch doctor. It can just be you valuing something else more than the value that you give the Lord's work or the value that you give God. So maybe you used to be someone who devoted their time to prayer, let's say in the morning or at night. You make sure that every day you read the Word of God and you have a prayer session. But then certain things are happening in your life, and you are there, you are in depression, you are just you have just decided that I don't want anything to do with God, or you are taking a break. So that time that you used to spend worshiping, reading the word, praying, maybe you are now using it for social media, or you are now using it for gaming, you are now using it for maybe clubbing. It can be different things. Those can be your gods. Those can be the gods that you are now worshiping. It can also be someone you have replaced. This is very important. Maybe you are someone who was single all along. You were very prayerful, you were going to church, and then you are now in a relationship with someone. So of course, there will be changes, but now instead of you praying at night, you are there on the phone, you are on a video call, and you just sleep on the call. You no longer have time for God. it can, that partner or that relationship can also be your God. So the word is just encouraging us to be careful. It actually said, or you'll be enticed to turn away, which means that this can just happen without you knowing. It's not like maybe it's intentional that I'm now turning away from God. You might not even notice that you have turned away from God. It just happens. That's verse 16. So the Lord is telling us that the moment that you start to worship other gods and bowing down to them, the Lord's anger will burn against you, and he will shut up the heavens so that it will not rain, and the ground will yield no produce. The Lord promised us that in verse 13, that if we obey his commandments, rain will fall down on us and we will produce new wine. It said new wine and olive oil, and we will gather new grain. But now, if we don't do that, the Lord will close his doors of rain. It says he will shut up the heavens so that it will not rain. So there are moments in life when we turn away from God, and things tend to completely shut down on us. It gets worse. Probably it's because you have turned away from God. You are not obeying his commands. You are living a life all filled with sin. That's why it's not raining in your life. If you just try to redirect your steps and go back to God, it will start to rain again, because automatically the word is telling us that if you turn away and worship other gods, the Lord is a jealous God, and they said his anger will burn against you. So it means some of the things, of course, in life, it won't be smooth, as you said um, yesterday. It won't be a smooth path, but some of the misfortunes that we are having in life, it's not because they were supposed to happen, but it's because of the sin, or the life that the kind of life that we are living in. Okay. Then I also want to go on where it says, fix these words of mine in your hearts and minds. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads, which means we should always remember these words from the Lord. So these words are, the first one, obey the commands of the Lord for rain to come. And the other one is, be careful not to turn away from God. Otherwise, there won't be any rain. These are the words that the Lord is telling us to fix in our hearts, which means in whatever that we do, we should always remember these things. Is what I'm doing good in the eyes of the Lord? Is what I'm doing not going to make the Lord angry? So it means whenever we do things, our heart should be filled with the words of the Lord. It should be a guide to us, so that in whatever that we do, we won't go astray. And it is also encouraging us to teach our children these words. These things should be known by our children. It said, talking about them when you sit at home. This is an encouragement that when you are at home, you should read the word of the Lord, and you should teach your children the commands of the Lord. It also says, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up, which means the first thing that we are supposed to do. All right, it means that we are supposed to teach our children that when we get up, when we sleep, when we are out there walking, and when we are at home, whatever that we do should be in line with the word of the Lord. It should be something which is right in the eyes of the Lord. So here, now we are living in a world, in a busy world, People are busy chasing after money, chasing after opportunities, side hustles, whatever that brings money on the table. And we no longer have family time. And if we do have that family time, it is no longer the family time that we used to have in our time, because now everyone will be glued on their phones, or we are that family time, we have a TV show that we are interested in as a family, that's what we are watching. Then after that, maybe you have dinner and everyone is tired, then you just go to sleep. No one is having time to sit down and share the word with the children. It's no longer the same. uh, that is if you actually get the time to watch that show. Otherwise, parents will be busy with night shifts. If it's not a night shift, if it's a day shift, they come home late, they find the children sleeping. So there is no one to actually teach the children, but the word is reminding us that in those busy days, yes, we know that we need to survive, and we need money to in order for us to live well in this life. But even in that busy schedule, let us create time to teach our children the way that we should live, the commands of the Lord. Teach them to your children. So it's those ways that the Lord told us to fix in our hearts, which means if these words are not fixed in my heart, I won't have anything to teach my child, because I don't have those words in my heart. Which means I'm the one who is supposed to start living right. If I'm someone who is living in sin, it will be very difficult for me to correct my child when he is doing the. It can be. I'll give an example. Maybe your your hustle, it involves robbing people. I must not use the word rob. I don't know. I don't know what word to use, but somehow you are stealing money from people. It's not directly stealing like you are the stealing that we know
Let's
of,
just
but
say you are doing some hustles that are
that,
ungodly.
yeah, or that are illegal,
Yes.
or that deprive someone of what they were supposed to have. Maybe is it fraud?
Something like that. When
Yeah.
you have those, unlawful gains,
hmm
when you are gaining
Unjust
unjust
gains.
gains, yes.
Unjust gains. So it means now, even when my child comes from school with an item that is not his, it won't be something which is wrong in my eyes, because already I'm taking what is not mine from people. Maybe I'm overcharging them. I don't know, but yeah. So I was saying, it means that as a parent, it's you who is supposed to fix these words in your heart first, for you to be able to teach those words to your children. Then it also, the last verse where I was saying, write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children may be many in the land the Lord swore to give your ancestors, as many as the days that the heavens are above the earth. Which means, here we are talking of uh, what I do now, it will affect generations to come.